So as I said, I'm so sad that we can't welcome you to our beautiful building, but I'm excited to introduce our panelists this evening. I'm Sonia Cole, the principal at Seahome. Excited to have each of you. Joining me this evening, we have our two assistant principals, Mr. Kudo and Ms. Barrett. We also have one of our counselors, Ms. Jelt. Mr. Cushman, our athletics and activities coordinator, will also be presenting. And then we have Christina Campbell, who is our prevention intervention specialist. And these folks will all be sharing some information. Thank you so much for joining. This session is recorded so that if you feel like it's moving too quickly or you want to follow up and have additional questions, it will be available on our website later this evening. All right, here at Seahome, it's good to review some of the things that we're really focused on this year. The core covenants and the things that we're all about are really looking at opportunities for students and our whole community to engage in activities where we're working on perseverance. Inclusivity is one of our core covenants that we continue to work on every day. Integrity and respect. So you'll see those posted, but really we're working on how do we live those out in our community every single day. One of the quotes that we're focusing on for our staff professional learning this year is by Cornelius Minor. He has written a book called We Got This that our leadership team is engaged in. But really this idea anchored in the core covenant is inclusivity in the context of teaching and learning does not simply mean that you are allowed to be present here. To be included means we have changed ourselves and our practices to make here a place where you can thrive. And that is true for our students, for our staff, and for each one of you joining us this evening. We really work to be a community where everyone feels welcome, included, and has a place here. So thank you so much for joining us. Please know that we value your time and appreciate all you've done to support our teachers, staff, and your students in this process. You're muted, Mike.
I know, yes. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I apologize, everyone. Just kind of structure of our webinar to kind of keep things moving and kind of meet kind of the information needs of everybody. We want to have folks kind of maximize use of the chat as well as the Q&A. The Q&A is a nice feature if you've never used that before, where you can post your question and it comes to all the panelists, and then we will either respond to the question in kind of the live, kind of someone will talk about it, or someone will respond to it in like a written answer, and everyone involved in the webinar will be able to see a response to that. Or you can also send a direct chat message to the panelists, and we can see those. So it'll be kind of the structure as we kind of participate tonight. I think this is Mr. Cushman.
There we go. So yeah, my name is Colin Cushman, and I am the activities and athletics coordinator here at Seahome High School. I wrote a little blurb there down kind of as our mission statement for activities and athletics, but really to simplify that, we are here to provide as many opportunities for kids to get involved and pursue their passions. And through athletics and through activities, we really believe if students can find a connection and build relationships with other students and with staff members, their experience as a student at Seahome just becomes one that's way more fulfilling. And so that's really what we're trying to do, is to connect each student's passion with other students who have similar passions, and so they can really build on what's being taught in the classroom, and also to reinforce the core covenants that Ms. Cole just shared with everyone. We'll flip to the next screen there. So we do have a number of athletic opportunities And we are currently in our fall sports season. We're in the third or fourth week here of fall sports, and we're starting competitions. In fact, I'm here at the school for a volleyball match. There's a lot of different things going on. It's not, even though sports have been going for a little while, it's not too late for your son or daughter to get involved if they still feel like they'd like to and they aren't sure how. Have them come by the activities and athletics office, and we'll work hard to try and find a place for them within our fall sports. Our winter sports start in November, and then our spring sports start in March. Our goal is for kids to be involved with things all year long. Some kids do one, some kids do two, and like I said, some kids will do all three things. We're also right now working on getting kids involved with a variety of different clubs. We have social clubs that really, it varies from club to club and how often they meet. We also have some competitive clubs like debate and chess and robotics, where they have a very regimented schedule, similar to what our athletics programs have. And compete sometimes from now until close to the end of the school year, and some have a long time to prepare and then a short competition window. But we have those kinds of clubs. We also have a lot of community service and groups that work with different adult groups in the community. So a wide variety, and we also provide the students the chance to create their own clubs. And then we try and match a teacher advisor who has a similar passion. Again, I think a lot of times the students just might need a little extra push to get out of their comfort zone and to try something new. And once they do, they're really excited about it. But the more you can have those conversations with your kids about trying something and taking a risk, the better the chances are they'll do it. And I think that's about all. I want to pass this back on, but oh yeah, I did put something in here about we do live stream, and we have a good athletics website with a lot of information on there. So if you're interested in what we're doing within our athletics programs, all of that can be found at chomeathletics.com. Check that out as we rest of the school year.
Thank you so much, Colin. Next up, we have Christina Campbell here, who is our prevention intervention specialist joining us this year. And she's going to share a little bit about the services and the help that she provides. Thanks, Christina. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Christina Campbell. I'm the new prevention intervention specialist and also a C-Home alumni. The main service or one of the services that I offer is just the substance use and mental health prevention and intervention. So that can be prevention for suicide or self-harm, talking about disordered eating or healthy eating habits, as well as then interventions for substance use and mental health. So understanding coping skills and triggers, psychoeducation around certain drugs and their impacts, as well as just working. I think COVID has increased anxiety for everyone. So just being able to manage that day to day and work on coming back to school. The student support can be one-on-one or in group setting. It could be as simple as just needing a break throughout the day, coming up to the counseling office, checking in, or even having a soft start to the day, especially with that anxiety. How do we get the day rolling, get into school, get ready to get going? I'm also continuing the 2 clubs that were already started by the person who previously held this role. So that's the peer-centered outreach and the peer-centered support. I'm working with a couple students to get something set up for the club fair, and we're really excited about what's going to happen this year with those clubs. As far as referrals, when I see those students and if there's a need for extra services, I can refer out. Oh yeah, I see the comment, yay. To be able to refer out for whether that's mental health resources or treatment, substance use treatment, and also help on that transition back in if a student does need to leave school for a little bit to get some support. And the last thing, amongst many of the other things that I can do, is also just going into classrooms, getting as much student contact. And sometimes that means helping out the teachers or going into support sensitive topics and also help with those topics, as well as staff training, or even some maybe family or parent nights where we can, go into maybe some sensitive or stigmatized topics and learn more about some of those. And that's about it in a nutshell.
If you have any questions specific to Christina and the role, please feel free to add those to the Q&A and she can answer those at the end, or you can reach out to her with her email if you have kind of more specific questions about a student or a follow-up. Next up, we have Amy Jelt, who is one of our counselors.
Hello, everyone. First, I just want to say I'm so excited that Christina is joining us this year. Can everyone hear me? Yes, okay. I wasn't lighting up yellow. We're so excited to have Christina. She's done such an amazing job incorporating into our Student Support Services office. So yeah, welcome, and we're excited to have you. So I wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about what we do in the Student Support Services office and introduce all of our team. So our goal overall is really to provide just a comprehensive counseling program. So we want to make sure we address academic, personal, social, career development of all students, and make sure that after they graduate from C-Home, that they are still self-directed lifelong learners who are college and career ready. We have a great group that we all work together really collaboratively. First, we have our counselors. So this year we are moving to a full alpha split. So in the past, we've done a ninth grade counselor, and now we will be working with students for all 4 years. So we have me, Amy Jelt. I work with students A through D. Jeff Smith works with students E through K. Hannah Schutz, L through RE, and John Vandermolen, R, H through Z. And so for counselors, most families are familiar with our role in scheduling. So we work with students to make sure that they're taking courses that align with their post-high school goals, meeting graduation requirements. We keep track of all that, making sure that everyone's on track to graduate. We also, my cat's excited to be here too. We also do a variety of guidance. So for our 9th and 10th grade students, they all receive their guidance through classroom meetings. And so we will talk about the nuts and bolts of what are credits, what is high school about, how to get involved. We, with our 10th grade students, talk more specifically around opportunities that they have in their 11th and 12th grade. So whether that be our Northwest Korean Tech Academy or AP classes, and just really diving into what they're interested in. For our 11th and 12th graders, we do individual meetings. So in the spring, we meet for a junior information night where we invite families, hopefully back in the building, to talk about all the things that your 11th graders are exploring and making sure they're ready for their senior year. And here in a few weeks, we'll be meeting one-on-one with 12th graders to discuss more specifically their individualized pathways for after high school. So that's sort of our counselor role. The counseling office, we also really want to make sure is a safe space for students. As Christina had mentioned, a soft place to land. So we check in when students are feeling stressed, or maybe they're trying to figure out the balance of having 8 classes and being an athlete, or having a job, or having family responsibilities. So we're also there for students on that social emotional level as well. We're a great resource if you just need to problem solve. We're always open to whether it's emailing us with questions. If we're not able to find that or know the answer ourselves, we are also available to point in the right direction and give resources. Our goal is also just to make sure that students have a really good experience throughout high school. I think over the last few years, it's been really, really difficult, being hybrid, being partially online. And so getting back into the swing of things of being in the classroom and getting engaged is one of our goals as well, to make sure students are having the best experience they can. So other people that are a part of our team, we have Amy Brewster. She's our student success coordinator. And her role really starts at the beginning of the year. She runs our mentor program, and she focuses on the transition for freshmen getting back to high school. She's also a great resource for getting connected with tutors. So we have a student learning center that will be up and running in our library after school, so we can connect students with individual tutors that can be across the board. So for all content areas. We have Martha Zender. She is our high school and beyond coordinator. She works in the Career Center, which is a great space for students when, if they're interested in looking for a job or talking about their resume or looking for connection with college representatives. She's also our scholarship guru. So especially for our seniors, she's a great resource to get connected with scholarships or volunteering. She also does a lot of work with the community and connecting students with volunteer opportunities. And then we have Emma Larson. She's our registrar. She does a lot of the behind the scenes of enrolling new students. She's also the person that keeps Skyward updated. So if there's any changes in mailing addresses, contact information, emails, she would be the person to contact to make sure that we have that all updated. And then we have Kendra Simpson. She's our administrative assistant. She's really the heart of the student support services. She's right there when you walk in the door, and she's a really great person for students and families to know. She can help get appointments scheduled with counselors. We are meeting in person as well as over Zoom, over the phone. We have our counseling website set up with our information to connect with us individually, and also updates with what we're doing throughout the year. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. And if you have any questions, you can either reach out to Kendra, call the main office, or reach out to us directly. So we're looking forward to connecting with your students and yeah, getting to see everyone again in person.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Jelt. And there was that question in the Q&A. Did you want to respond to that now possibly, or?
Sure. So I think the question was around, was it the HCL question?
Yep.
Yes. Yes, so we are also the case managers for students who are in the HCL, which is the highly capable learning program, as well as students who have 504 plans. So I would recommend connecting with your counselor. Throughout the year, we have different speakers and people that will come in to discuss ways to support your students. But also, it's, what we really enjoy doing and like to collaborate with families around is what a student's individual plan is, right? Like what do they need? All of our students are so, so different. And so how that works for each student will be different. Information, the question was, when will families receive information? That usually comes from the district level if it's a bigger opportunity or event. But I would just recommend connecting with your counselor and then talking about the goals of your student so that we can make sure that they are taking the classes that will engage them, or other opportunities outside of the home to other forms of enrichment.
Great, thank you. And we did get one question through the chat just regarding maybe the difference between an AP course and a college and the high school course. And that is, so currently, and especially right now, as students are starting courses, there are some courses that offer what's called college and the high school credit. So some of our courses, like I think psychology is one that often ninth graders will take, but we do have pre-calculus, anatomy, neuroscience. Anyway, there's a few that are college and the high school, and then we also have a number of college board, which are AP college board courses. College and the high school are courses that they're college level courses that students take in high school that are partnered with a specific college or university. So whether it's so Whatcom Community College, Skagit Community College, University of Washington, we've got a number of partnerships for college and the high school credit. If a student chooses to take the course, they can also choose to earn the college credit associated with it. They become a student of that community college or that university and earn the credit through that university while also getting high school credit. There is a cost to get that credit, but it's far subsidized or much lower than like if you were to take the course actually from the University of Washington or from any community college. So and the grade that they get in the course at C-Home ends up also being the grade for their college transcript. So if they take psychology and they earn a B in psychology, they will then also have a transcript for Whatcom Community College with a B on it for 5 psychology high school or college psychology credits. So then College Board AP courses, those have they study material through the whole year, and then at the end of the year in May, they will take an exam connected to that course. And depending on how they do on that final exam, they will then be able to, they will earn a score, and then they will attend, if they go on to some post-secondary education, whether it's college or university, those colleges or universities will grant credit based on that score. It's definitely recommended that individuals that are looking at specific schools look at kind of what those colleges or universities will accept regarding college credit. And that's a very nuanced conversation. We unpack that a lot, especially with the junior year conversation and scheduling conversations that we have as we have other meetings throughout the year with students and families. But if you have further questions, definitely reach out to counselors about that. But I think we will kind of move on, and feel free to continue to use the Q&A as we're making progress here. School lunches, it's a horrible graphic, so I apologize, but it may or may not look better or worse than the high school lunches that you had when you were a student. But currently, we have free breakfast and free lunch for all students this year. So
the slide isn't changing, Mike, just so you know.
That's not good. Can we, okay, how about now? What do you guys see now? Anything? Oh man, my screen's
A
all
lot of nice looking counselors and student support staff.
My screen's all messed up then. I don't have any of the I can't get to my
You can
button.
imagine what a good lunch looks like, or I can share my screen.
Well, if you can, yeah, if you can share your screen, because I can't actually get to any of the Zoom.
Okay, this is gonna stop you, and then let me see if I can get.
Sorry, didn't want to interrupt. Go ahead, talk about lunches. And now you're muted, so it's cool.
Oh man.
He's
Nothing.
saying
You
all
want to talk
kinds of
about
things.
lunches?
Sure. So lunches this year are subsidized by, I think that's a USDA federal grant. And so students have access to both breakfast and lunch for free in our building. They can come in the morning and get breakfast. Lunchtime, there's 2 options made by our delicious central kitchen. Today we watched students eat a pesto pasta salad with chicken, an optional chicken, and then also chicken fajitas. Those were the 2 options at high school. So, that's pretty exciting. There's also like a grab and go options like bagels, and often there's hoagie sandwiches. One of the things that we've changed this year in order to disperse the crowds a bit and grant a little more space on campus is that 9th through 12th graders all get to leave campus during lunch. And So far, the space that we've had has been really beautiful. We've been really encouraging students to be outside. Our big garage doors into the commons open and we get lots of fresh air, and students are spilling out into the picnic tables and the steps and the amphitheater space outside. So it's really lovely. And we're problem solving how to create more open spaces outside for when the weather turns a bit. So we're encouraging students to stay 6 feet apart inside. We've got lots of space inside for students to spread out. So it's been really fun to see students use our campus outside in the way that it was intended to be used. And the pictures that we've seen in the renderings of the campus drawing before it was even a real place, it looks like that now with students outside. It's really fun. So just a few tips about safety in our parking lot. There is a parent drop-off and pickup lane. For the safety of your students, we'd like you to pull all the way forward to the parking cone that's along the sidewalk. If you've dropped off or picked up your student, you know that it can get kind of clogged. So we're encouraging folks to pull all the way up the sidewalk. And then as the person in front of you leaves, pull up a little more, keep your speed limit low. And we're encouraging our new drivers and our student drivers who've been driving to keep their speeds low. So that's a message you can reinforce if you have a student who drives to school. Any accidents or speeding that you or your student witnesses on our campus can be reported either to us in the main office or to Peggy. If you know Peggy, our campus monitor, and her extension is there on the screen. It's 5258. Parking passes are free, but we do ask that students pick them up. That kind of helps us monitor who's parking in our parking lot and to deter any neighboring Western students to keep from parking in our lot as we start to get filled up, especially as the year goes by and we get more drivers as students pass driver's ed. So all students should have a pass in their vehicle. They can go to the ASB window, which is Miss Moran's office, and get a free parking pass. So one of the things that's changed over the last year and a half is that our bus loop is completely closed to any buses or any traffic that's not a bus. There were times over the last year and a half when, because we didn't have buses coming onto campus, people got used to parking in that bus loop. It's real easy to access the upper field and the tennis courts. But we're keeping all non-bus traffic out of the bus loop. So make sure that you pull into one of the other 2 entrances to our main parking lot and use that parking lot and not the bus loop. Even after school, we have athletics that come through and the buses park in that bus loop. So at all times, the bus loop is off limits. Okay, I get to be the person who also tells you about all of our safety protocols. We're really proud of the way our students have been taking this seriously and understand the consequences of not following the rules. And so it's actually been a really smooth start. So one of the things that we are relying on is the layers that we have that when used together provide our space with a really safe environment for students. So the one big thing is masks required inside schools by everybody, adults and students alike. And so if students need a mask break, they're encouraged to go outside. They can take their masks off. Some classes are meeting for a portion of the class outside so that students get a chance to take a break from their mask. We are, however, certainly not telling students they have to take their mask off. So if they want to keep their mask on outside, that's completely okay, and plenty of students do. So we're also encouraging and watching as we have increasing numbers of vaccinated students in our space, which is great. It expands access to a lot of opportunities that we have. Also, physical distancing, our goal is to have 3 feet in the classroom. We know that sometimes that's not possible because of the number of students we have, but to the best of our abilities, we're distancing and keeping students safe by our mask policy and also our distancing. Our next slide. So we used to last year have an app where students attested to their health. We're not doing that this year. We're asking students to attest to their own health before they come to school. If a student has any symptoms that are of the COVID symptom list, we're asking them to not come to school. Instead, monitor their symptoms. If it's a short-term symptom, then it's not COVID related. If it is a symptom that hangs on, then we ask that the student stays out and gets either a COVID test or gets quarantined. And you're welcome to always call our front office, and talk through any scenarios that you might have with your student. We're currently in the process of expanding access to testing. We don't have that quite yet, but we're hopeful that soon we'll have access to PCR tests in our schools. So that's pretty exciting. We are contact tracing. If we know of if we're alerted that a student has been exposed or is positive, or a staff member is positive with COVID, we go through our contact tracing. So if your student is a close contact, you will get informed. If you don't hear anything, that means your student was not a close contact, which is great news. Vaccinated students are exempt from quarantine, so that's a very helpful measure. And we are contact tracing during the week. So you wouldn't get called on the weekend in order to get contact traced, at least not from the school. The Department of Health is still doing their contact tracing. We're lucky to have one of the newer buildings in the district. It has great ventilation. You are always welcome to meet with our new Director of Facility and Sustainability, Mark Peterson. Can tell you all kinds of things about our building, but we're also happy to give you that information if you call and ask. It's really lots and lots of air exchanges, which none of us knew anything about before COVID. So we have a COVID safety team. We share information. We meet weekly. There's a staff COVID information page that staff have access to. And if, as a parent, you can always go to the district office website, and there's a COVID-19 link that will link to all the information that you need. We're also, of course, focusing on hand washing, which is something that we have been doing for the last year and a half in different measures. And our custodians clean our building thoroughly at the end of every night, which we know is sufficient to disinfect our building. So reach out. We're happy to answer any questions or share any information about how we're keeping your child safe while at school.
We have one question about if you have any sense what percentage of students are vaccinated.
You know, because that's protected health information, we actually don't have that information at the tip of our fingers. We could extrapolate that our county or our city data is similar to what our school would be, but that's the best we can do. We're not actually at this point asking for vaccinated information or vaccine information from our students.
Oh man, I'm back just in time.
Oh, Mike, all right, welcome back.
Back just in time. So attendance is something that we see as a paramount tool for students to access their learning. But we also know that at times students will be absent. And so the person to contact is Heidi Schroer. She is the administrative assistant in the main office that kind of manages all of attendance. So she is the one that if you do have an excused absence or an absence, you can call for that. And then there was in kind of early in August, we sent out a communication just reminding folks around kind of the idea of an excused and unexcused absence. So that's part of our school board policy 3122. So there's kind of the policy and procedure. The procedure kind of breaks down kind of what classifies an excused absence compared to an unexcused absence. And so kind of the bold ones here are the things that are an excused absence or participation in a school approved activity, absences due to that long list of things. And then absences for parent approved activities. And that one needs to be connected with an it needs administrative approval connected to kind of a parent approved activity, as well as absences resulting from disciplinary action, extended illness, or kind of chronic health conditions. And one of the things around attendance is really important to follow up within the first 48 hours regarding an excused absence, so that we can have it properly coded. And if you have particular questions about attendance, feel free to contact an administrator about it, or Ms. Schroyer, and we can kind of support around attendance questions. I'm just going to follow up this.
Oh, yeah, the question.
We have a quick question kind of regarding attendance. If a student has to quarantine due to close contact or a positive COVID test, and we are not doing Zoom or classes via Zoom or any sort of hybrid approach this year, so it is going to be managed as a excused absence due to illness. So working with the teacher regarding work that should be done outside of class to kind of stay on track with the class. So going back to how we would have managed any sort of student absence missing class. So there is a hybrid option this year. Good question. And then if you're not familiar with our schedule, these are posted on our website, but we are an AB block schedule with advisory in the morning from 8:30 to 8:55. We do want all of our students to be in their advisory at 8:30, so arriving to school before that is important so that they can connect with their advisory class, as well as get kind of like geared and ready for the day to hit their classes. We are running currently 2 lunches, and there is a bit of a lunch split, and some students it's harder than others to remember which lunch to go to. I think we're getting most people ironed out, most students ironed out as far as which one they should take, but sometimes it can be a little kind of confusing. And this AB schedule, really tiny in the slide, but that's something that you can also get on our website as well as the district website. But we have a number of all of the AB days are scheduled out for the whole year, along with any sort of days where we might be having professional development with staff. So those are the purple blocks on the calendar. But this is a good tool to plan out family events and things, so as to not miss too much school, to maximize learning opportunities. Is this me? Probably me. I can't see any of my presentation stuff anymore. So the See Home Learning Center, it's in the library, and that will run once we're in the process of getting it fully staffed. Often when Westerns comes back, I think next week, that's where we get many of our tutors that support the Learning Center. But it is really just providing a space in the library for students to work on their work, to get tutoring support. Right now we have it open from 3:30 to 4:30. When we have it fully staffed, we will be running it from 3:30 to 5:30 for a space for students to meet with tutors during 30-minute blocks. And that's a tool that we've utilized for a number of years, where students can actually sign up for a specific tutor or in a content area that they're interested in getting support around. If you've got a student that's struggling, or a teacher recommends, hey, I think my student would really benefit from that, definitely check it out. Counselors often will, when they're meeting with a student, will say, hey, have you thought about the tutoring center? It's a great spot to just kind of meet and connect. And spending an hour at the Learning Center to get all your work done before you head off to your next thing is a really nice feature of the Learning Center. So, and currently WTA bus passes are free right now for I think for everyone, but even if that switches over, we provide bus passes for students to be able to take this bus home, if that would be helpful.
Oh, man. Shoot.
Yes, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. Love it. What PowerPoint are you in right now? Okay, yeah.
Good evening, See Home families. I'm Carol Hawk, co-president of the See Home PTSA, along with Tracy Bell. See Home PTSA, Parent Teacher Student Association. Our mission is to work together with staff and students to make See Home a place where every student can succeed. We really help with raising funds for equipment, programs that enrich student learning, and provides volunteer help for both academic and extracurricular activities, as well as celebrate the hard work of our students and faculties. So what does the PTSA do? What does that entail? As you know, as most of us, all is depending on the health of our community. These are some of the things we hope to do this year. We hope to host some staff appreciation lunches, coordinate some volunteering, chaperoning, maybe a dance or two, help in the library, and much more. And again, we want to purchase supplies and equipment not being covered by the school district, as well as provide some teacher grants, and hopefully coordinate our annual fundraiser, and much, much more. So how can you be involved? So you can become a member for a small fee, which is a lot less than our weekly coffee budget. When you become a member, a portion of those fees do come back to our PTSA, but most do go to the state and the national PTSA. It's allocated for legislative and advocacy issues. Again, being a member does not require you to volunteer or have mandate hours. You can also attend a PTSA business meeting, which is usually the fourth Tuesday of the month from 6.
All right, we are having phenomenal technology challenges. We love it. You just pivot, you just keep moving forward.
Time.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So if you're interested in the PTSA, check it out. They are just a great collection of family support to our school community. And yeah, they're pretty great. And you're pretty great too. So you guys should all come together and be pretty great together. So, and Bethany, do you have the PowerPoint open by chance? What do we have left?
The only last slide is Q&A. So
okay.
it's, and I actually see a question in the Q&A right now about if a kid wants to get a bus pass, how do they go about it? And I can answer that question in two ways. WTA buses are free right now for students under the age, well, students up to the age of 17. And if your student is still in school, they can show proof of their schedule and they can get a bus pass even if they're over the age of 17, which many of our seniors are. And what they need to do is go down to the Bellingham bus station, which is the downtown Railroad Street transfer station, show their, I mean, we don't have ASB cards at the moment. I don't think they have ASB cards yet, no. But they can show their Skyward schedule on their phone, for example, and or an ID that just shows their age, and they can get a free youth touch pass through WTA, and that allows them to ride any WTA bus for free in the city right now. When that ends, which it's been going on for a long time now, and there's no evidence that it will end anytime soon, but when it does, if students need a bus pass, they can get it from the main office. We're not giving those out right now because we don't need to. Well, actually, I don't know, maybe we are giving them out, but there's no need to because the bus is free.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard, because I have a high schooler myself who used the bus a lot without getting her touch pass. So I do know that if your kid looks like a high schooler, they let them ride for free. So if you have a kid who looks a little older than a high schooler, then you probably want to make sure that they get their touch pass so they actually get that free bus ride. But it is free right now in the city. Let's see. So we don't currently have any before or after school hours that the gym is open. We don't have supervision in those areas. So if students want to use, obviously if they want to use the outside track, you know, students can run the track. We do not, however, have our locker rooms open in the morning before school starts for students to be able to shower. So if they want to run the track and then go home and then come back, or run the track and then come to school, that's cool too. But we do not have before or after school spaces open right now. If that changes, we'll definitely communicate that.
I wanted to follow up on one of the questions, if that's all right. Around the question was, and it's in our answered options around meeting and greeting with teachers and getting and receiving emails. Counselors are also really helpful in that area. Sometimes it's nice to have a point person. So if you're feeling as though maybe your students, you know, having a hard time balancing all of their classes, workload, or just getting communication, counselors are a really good place to start. That way you can just meet with one person. We often will be a good place to connect with students so that they can either, you know, have one person to disseminate information, especially if something's going on. So for instance, if maybe there's, you know, something going on in their life, or they're feeling like they want teachers to know something specific, but they don't want to necessarily reach out to them, or in the middle of class have to like raise their hand and share something. Teachers are, you know, often in the middle of the day, they're teaching throughout the day. So counselors are a great resource if you're wanting to connect with your students' teachers and want to have a point person.
And to the question in the Q&A, so counselors are assigned by last name. Did you want to do those letters again one more time, Ms. Cho?
Absolutely. Sorry, I should have said last name. So I am the counselor for students with last names A through D. Jeff Smith is the counselor for students with last names E through K. Hannah Schutz works with students L, wait, we just changed it this year.
L through
L to
R.
R-E, Lori, as I remember. And then John Vandermolen works with students RH through Z. And all that information is on our website. So if you go to the City Home website, up on the right-hand side, you'll see counseling and all of our information, our email addresses, along with our district cell phones and our office phones are on there as well.
And in case that confuses you, because your student had a different counselor last year, there has been a reshuffling this year of counselors. We used to have a ninth grade counselor who had all the ninth graders, and then the students went off by last name to the other three, and everything's been shuffled around, and we've folded that counselor in as one of the 4 counselors, and so broken up the alphabet differently. So maybe your student was a ninth grader last year and moved into a different counselor because we had that model, and maybe your student moved because we added another counselor and it just shifted some of the names around. So if you have a new counselor this year, that might be the case. So that's a little explanation. We're lucky to have a great counseling team.
And we all work collaboratively. So if you want to reach out to the previous counselor and the new counselor, we're right next to each other. So we're always collaborating and chatting, and you know, having Christina there too, and working with all students, we're all just, you know, available for everyone as they come in. So reach out to any of us. We're all here to help.
And the same is true for us in the main office. For Mike and Sonia and I, we also work collaboratively. And even though you may have heard, Mike and I actually split the alphabet in half. So if there are IEP meetings or meetings about 504s or student of concern meetings or discipline, we take care of the alphabet within our own alpha range, but that doesn't mean that we also don't support the rest of the students, and we often do that collaboratively. So please feel free to reach out to us. And Sarah Curlin, who is one of our new admin assistants in the front office, is calendaring for both Mike and I. So she can help get time on the calendar if you'd like to meet with one of us. And Tony Ladner is Sonia's admin assistant and can help you get time with Sonia. And you'll find all of that on the website.
All right, well, thanks for hanging with us through all of the technical difficulties. I apologize already to the PTA. You guys put together such a nice video and then it just died. So I will post that up on the website as well. We appreciate each one of you, encourage you to reach out with questions, join the PTSA, and we are just excited to have a great year. We look forward to seeing you in person. Come by and introduce yourself. We would love to meet you. So thank you so much for coming this evening. Reach out with any questions and enjoy the rest of your evening.